Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba, da, ba, ba. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. We are night elves because we died in Shadowfang Keep. 'Tis unfortunate. What I did, I totally made a new. Let's add it. New thumbnail for this. Those are night elf boys now. Moondream will live. Okay. Let's rock and roll. We're going to make the balance dream happen. I am determined. Right. All right. All right. Got a partnership over here. What's going on, Sam's? Hey. What is that? We need to. It's going to be a big bummer not having skinning because we got to run all the way to Darnassus. 'Tis going to be a rough one. Ba, 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 ba. If you're new out there, let me know down in the comments. Hey, greetings, salutations. Are you excited for Season of Discovery? I'm pretty pumped. Don't worry, my guy. I'll take care of this one. This warrior is mine. Was gonna help out there. You're an acrobat. Nobody can see me. Enjoy some defense. You know, we've been cooking eggs, and we need to get ourselves some stam and spirit. Because one of these characters, one of these, you know, attempts, I'm going to fish and cook and do the whole nine. What do we got here? We need some Night Stalkers. 'Tis what we need. Where are all the spooters? The balanced dream shall be had. As I continue auto-running right through. That mob didn't see what was coming. Hey, my guy giving me some thorns. Very helpful. Thank you. We don't quite have enough cash to buy it yet. It's mainly because we don't have skinning. We need some fat skinning. Doo-doo-doo. We need to tag every single one of these guys. We need them all. We need them all. We need them all. I want it all. Miss, dodge. Classic. Gotta love it. Since we are very close, we'll go ahead and snatch these up. Plus, we do need one more leg. Gotta crack some spiders. Oh man, just so much stuff here to grab. We don't know how to grab flowers. And some really bad eggs. Esfend, the human paladin. Dead at level 1. Where'd you come from, my dude? Peanut butter spooter time. I could have just like sniped that mob from him. You're welcome, young druid. This person's trying to tame an owl, and then this other guy's just killing it. Good grief. Good grief, man. We will make up for our sins. We still have not found any shoes. We are barefoot. True druid fashion. Grief. Vibrating walls. Oh yeah. question is, do I just... What do we do? We need cash. That's what we need. All right. Let's head on out for... I think what we'll do is we'll swing this direction. Because we need some cones. Boogie shoes. Aha! Bell cone. We're here just hunting eggs. I really wish I could shape shift. Hey, what up, Strange? How's your day going? I felt so bad losing the Tauren Druid that I couldn't stop playing as a Druid. That I just had to roll on the Night Elf. Now we'll help him kill this beast while we go hunt mystics. Hey, Night Elf was your first. Where this guy just runs over and starts tagging all the mystics. Yeah, it was a bummer, but I knew it was going to happen because I logged on. I was like, all right, we'll figure out where I want to be. I was going to run myself over to Ashenville, and then I was going to stream starting over there because we had done a ton of stuff in the foothills. And then I was going to start streaming, and then someone's just like, hey, do you want to group up for this? And I was like, I definitely want to do Shadowfang Keep. Let's go ahead and run that up real quick. And then the second we got to the little staircase room where you can basically aggro all the mobs that are above, the tank even said, stay back. I'm going to pull everything to this room. And then nobody stayed back. And then I made the brilliant decision to sit there and try and be a hero and save the day. That was a mistake. I should have just boogied on out of the instance. The second everyone started just swarming in there. But it is what it is. I know better for next time. Night Elves are just a sweet race overall. How on earth did I pull that mob right there? I wasn't even near him. Leave me alone. I'm just urban out here, man. But the Moonkin dream is staying alive. Oh, in WoW perspective, the Demon Hunter is sweet. I've never actually like considered playing it though. Very mobile, like DPS class. You think I would be all over that? Very weird that I've never actually really considered playing it. These are not mystics. We need to roll back up here. Feel like monks, demon hunters, and evokers play more like action MMO characters. Same with Beast Mastery Hunter. I'm gonna try and dip here again, because we're just trying to get to the backside. Yeah, action-based is definitely very important, especially from like a melee perspective. Honestly, I'd probably be all over the evoker if I could be a fat dragon. Where are all the mystics? Where are all the mystics? Ba-dum-bum-bum. We only need 3 more. They're like beat stocks. I could really use some stam here. What will help kill this creature? Yeah, rustic is a good way of putting it. It's like, I'm not a big fan on the Pandarian. Most of the ally races that aren't already like races that were in the game. So like High Mountain Tauren, awesome. But Volpiric or Volpira, not a big fan. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. How do you have 3 mobs? What are you doing? What is this person doing? Oh, no. It was a one-on-one. I hope since I tagged that mob, I'm not on the chain. I'm not. What happened? No idea what they were doing. The Moon Boy dream's gonna live, though. You like the pandas? All right. We're gonna just go ahead and help this person out. Because there's no shot we die. Boom. Look at that. And we only need uno mas more of these guys. Out of all the classes, are you including like Druid, Death Knight? What else is flashy? Where do I need to go? All right. Like everything? I mean, the Ret Paladin was looking real dope. I will say that. Leave me alone, please. It's actually absolutely, it's a big claim. Yes, it is. It's probably just because I play Unholy that I feel a little bit different, but I literally don't play Blood and I literally don't play any Frost. I only play Unholy, and having all the minions come out, like Apocalypse is the best skill in the game. Like, just being able to pop that all the time and just have minions coming, it feels good. You don't need flashy wings when you got just an army of the dead coming all the time. But I do agree, like, Rhett looks cool. Blade of Justice looked cool. The Condemn or whatever talent where the whatchamacallit comes down, the hammer, all feels real awesome. What about Warlock? Dripping those big fat Chaos Bolts. Which Chaos Bolt come in the classic WoW. I think that's going to be real exciting. I'm trying to figure out what season of Discovery class I'm going to like main. Even though it's going to be really easy to get them all to 25. Finally some eggs. Or like what my first one's going to be. Because I feel like most everyone is going to be playing on Alliance, just because most of the runes really buffed Alliance super heavy. Small eggs. Destro Warlock hits so hard in terms of one-shot power. Yeah, I love the demonology, just the fantasy element of that. But back when Haunt was ability, which Haunt's coming back to Classic as well, stacking up as much of the dots as I could and then popping on a Haunt, that felt good. But I also really love like a spectral type of fantasy. Anything with ghosts. I love it. But also they had that one ability that you would pop and it did more damage based on having more dots all over the field. I think that was implemented in BFA, but I just remember playing that when I came back for Shadowlands. I think it's like Malrupture or something like that. Whatever that ability felt really good to click in big AoE situations. Go in a dot fiesta and then you go boom, boom, boom. It's very similar to the way Epidemic feels for Unholy DKs. Spread your plagues, and then you're just like pop, pop, pop. Big explosion of damage numbers on the screen. It feels real good. Oh, the Revenant. I was a Necro boy in Guild Wars 2, but the Revenant always felt like an interesting play style. I guess we can do this guy's quests. Yeah, the legend, the Ghost Legends. I never gave it like a super fair shot. But that's because I could be a Reaper and get that Grim Reaper fantasy that I absolutely love with the Necromancer. Just going into Shroud and just Being this straight G felt good. Like, they got Necromancer and Ashes of Creation. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a way to get, like, to make the Necromancer feel like the Grim Reaper. Whether it's through talents or through maybe, like, a legendary. The way the project images of the mist. They use abilities to summon a host of weird stuff. Like a brick road that crumbles. Got you thinking about bards and summoner in Ashes. See, and I was thinking about, because probably the way you could get a Grim Reaper in Ashes of Creation is through their first expansion. And in their first expansion, they add a new archetype to the class, or to the game. And the new archetype is Shapeshifter. So, like, Summoner, Shapeshifter, Reaper. Give me that Grim Reaper so I can raise my minions. Even though you could do many different things with Summoner, Shapeshifter, but you shapeshift into the Grim Reaper. Or if it's like Summoner, Cleric, or Shapeshifter, Cleric, you shapeshift into either an Angel or the Angel of Death. That would be really dope. I just got to get the Grim Reaper in the game somehow. Only Trogs. No, thank you. Few classes like that. We need some silver leaf. Over here looking for these Timberland seeds, but they're all dying. Could yeah, transform into multiple stuff. I mean, there's, because you can do it two ways. Maybe they can polymorph people. I mean, it's possible. Because I'd love to see them have a permanent shapeshift that gives you like new abilities, and then you have specific abilities that can do like the D4 shapeshift, where you click the ability and like you have the animation of turning into something else, and it's part of the ability, and then you shapeshift, which you can either stay in that ability or stay in that form, and then like if we took like D4 as an example, you shapeshift into the werewolf, you have all the werewolf like slashes, claws, bleeds, all their stuff on the bar, and then you click a button that shapeshifts you in the ability into bear form, and now your abilities change to like all the mauls and the stuns and whatever you do. That's what I mean, that's how I envision like a true shapeshifting class. So now you're cycling through all the different forms as you're going, which would be really tough to add into Ashes of Creation, but especially because you have to have that play style work across 9 different classes at that point if you added in shapeshifting as its own archetype. But I think that would be sweet. Well, and that's where instead of just calling it like shapeshifter, you could have shapeshifting mechanics, but you actually call it a druid. So in your regular form, you're doing like Celtic moon stuff like they have here in WoW, where you're calling down moonbeams, you know, calling like growth of the nature. And then in the kit, you have where you're shapeshifting as well. So you're shapeshifting into wolves and big cats and bears or yetis. You know, you could have owl bears in the game if you really wanted to go the full D&D route. So your human form is you're a druid. And then if you wanted to focus more on just like druidic like play style, you pick up like cleric. Or if you want to like focus on druidic like shadow elements, you pick up like rogue as your secondary class. Focuses on like moon stuff and shape-shifting into the shadows. Druid would be the absolute best archetype to add in to an expansion for Ashes. I'd love to make a video on it, but it's like probably way too early for that type of theory crafting video. Ah, see, now you're thinking D&D. The Eldritch route. Draw your power. And it's, you could even like have specific visual elements. Oh yeah, I love crafting Eldritch. Because now you're getting the, what's that creature? Can't even think of what the creature is. The one with the tentacles. Shapeshift into one of those beasts. But another like way of doing shapeshifting without actually having to do shapeshifting. What's the character? There's a DC character. Trying to think of it. Let's see if I can Google it up. DC character. Animal powers. Not Animal Man. She like channels it. It's not Cheetah. Oh, this is gonna drive me absolutely bonkers. Not Beast Boy. Vixen. There's the character. Vixen. So essentially, she is capable of just channeling the powers of a gorilla, and then she becomes super strong. Or she channels the power of like an elephant, and she can like trample you like a herd of elephants would do. So she doesn't actually change form, but she gains the power of that creature, and then it augments her like body to where she's like a super soldier. So she can be like super fast, or she can leap super far. But yeah, I'd love the D4-esque. But I also love the elements of being a, like, that's, you shapeshift into it, and now you're that you are that form. And we are not getting any drops on these things. Need 8 of these. I've killed like 20 of these guys. Yeah, each button turns you into a different form. Because I would just love a shape-shifting playstyle where it encourages you to use multiple forms. Because that's one thing that I'm disliking about the retail druid. It's not advantageous to shapeshift mid-combat. If you go feral, you just stay cat. If you go guardian, you just stay bear. If you go balance, you just stay moonkin. Just whatever way they can make it advantageous to shapeshift mid-combat. That's what I'm looking for from a... because it's almost like just changing stances. You go from one stance to the other. And Ash's class system is the best foundational spreadsheet to allow you to like specialize. It'd be a very similar way of looking at like looking at how you'd build a summoner class if they let you choose which pets you have. So you choose which abilities, whether you choose the one where it transforms you, or you just load up your bar with all the different abilities that you would want to stay in like werewolf form or stay in demonic form. We definitely want the potion. Exactly. That's why I'm a huge seller, or a huge buyer. Not seller, we're buying on the Ashes 64 class system. I bet money that you can make a summoner and sacrifice your permanent pets to be some sort of dark mage. Yes. The shadow, what is it? Shadow Lord? We need to pull this up. I should really just have this as like a saved page, the 64 class. Ashes classes. I just need to have this as like a saved picture. Should just be my background. I think about it so often. Shadow Mancer. You're summoning shadow creatures that you can sacrifice to embolden you. Additionally, the mage summoner, the warlock, I think that would be really cool. So a long while ago, I had a script that I had set up for how I would like my summoner playstyle. Since we haven't seen any of the abilities, we haven't seen any of the ways that they're creating like the class. I want there to be permanent pets that you can click a button and the pet does something. So you click the button once, kind of like Guild Wars 2, where you summon the pet. You click the button again and the summon does something. But then I also want a button where you can desummon your pets in some manner. So essentially when you click the button, Neither of these are good for me. When you click the button, the pet either explodes and destroys or is absorbed. Or you click the button and, like, let's say you're a Beastmaster and you have like a gorilla pet. When you click like desummon, the like gorilla will do like a stampede and it will stampede off. So that way it's advantageous to like resummon in combat. So like when you summon the pet, I want something to happen. So like in our gorilla example, when I summon the gorilla, it will stampede in. Exactly. Kamikaze skeletons, like they kamikaze and explode into the creature. Or when they spawn, you know, wherever you spawn them, like you can choose where to spawn them, like they'll burst out of the ground and it'll be like a mini explosion where they burst. So they do something when you summon them. They do something like you can keep them permanent and you can click and they do something, and then they do something when you desummon them. Because that's the big thing that I dislike with most permanent summoning classes is they're mainly passive. They mainly, you just summon them, they're doing stuff, and then you're not really interacting with them. Any play style, like with the imps in World of Warcraft and retail, where you can do implosion, that ability is the type of ability that I want to see from a summoning play style in Ashes. Like, I want to be actively in combat, summoning and desummoning my creatures left and right. That's what I want to be using my mana on. And then also in the summoner's kit, there's going to be like temporary summons. Like I can summon like a flock of like ravens that poison an area. You know, since all the classes that get summoned or get the summoner augments will have temporary summons. I want those naturally in the kits. So now as a summoner, I'm working between rotating my permanent pets, rotating what they're doing, and rotating in my temporary pets. And it's an extremely active play kit. Raven Master Summoner. I could see that being part of the Falconer's like aesthetic, the Ranger Summoner. But I could also see that being a part of the Beastmaster kit. And the Raven's great because the Raven fits any of the just the regular bird fantasy, but it also fits any of the like dark necrotic like poisoner. Like Necromancer could definitely summon some ravens. Shadowmancer could definitely summon some ravens. The Conjurer itself could summon some ravens depending on whatever aesthetic they're going for with just the overall summoner. The Raven it's a model that you can reuse in all of the kits. Plus, how sweet would an ability be? Like, we've seen the ones where the ravens come down and they do like the swarm, and you could do this with bats. You could do this with any small bird, like insects, like they're just swarming around your character, and they're like a raven shield that damages any melee attackers that are on you. I think that would look super dope. Not today, hardcore. Today was the day. Yeah, the summoner has so much potential inside of the class system that they've got going. It's insane. And you can use the Raven in other classes. So for example, the Raven is often a sign of death. So the Raven can definitely be part of any cleric abilities. I'm specifically thinking like a scryer, you know, the fortune teller, or the oracle, like the mage. The oracle sees the future. So when you foresee death, the Raven comes in, and it's, you know, part of the aesthetic feel for like the death ability that's coming in. Shadowmancer with some Darksnix flavor and stealth mobility, sort of like Swain from League of Legends. Let me check out Swain. Oh my goodness. Look at those Ravens. Exactly. Oh man. Roll Mage. Difficulty high. Jericho Swain. It's really funny. We've been watching or rewatching Jericho, the girlfriend and I. And now Jericho's popped up here. But you could easily see, because he's got this kind of like vampiric Shadowmancer vibe to his like model. Easily you could envision him going stealth. He's like a mage bruiser. We need the alpha too. That's what we need. Jericho's such a great name. I don't even have my buffs up. He uses a demon, sucks a bunch of HP from people. Sounds like a fun class to play. Bruisers that have lifesteal are always fun. Someone left their boglings. Hello? I guess I'm just going to be getting all the bogling roots that I want. Yeah, I think the lifesteal is going to be a huge part of the Necromancer kit. Life-stealing minions, life-stealing abilities. A lot of death magic. Mid-range and AoE. Could have sworn we were supposed to plant the seeds. Maybe those were the seeds that I planted. Yeah, the Necromancer is such a cool fantasy. It's why Vladis really wishes the Summoner was just like called, like it was just a Necromancer class. And then you were augmenting just Necromancer abilities with all the augments. Because it's such a good fantasy. All right, did we fill out everything on this side of the map? We did. And we just dinged 8. It's wonderful. We can now milk some melt. We can now make some Kelderai spider kebabs. Like they can, I mean, that does make sense. Conjurers can conjure their own form. I had never considered that. Merge with one of their temporary pets. Now that's really cool. How to get shapeshifting into Ashes of Creation without adding a whole new archetype. Add it to the Summoner's kit. Specifically the Summoner. That would be really cool. Because there's so many different forms that you could do. You know, you could do a demonic form for like corrupted magic. You can do like a blood form for like blood magic. You can do a fire form if you want to do fire damage. Water form, shadow form. Turn yourself into a tree if you want to do some healing. Shadow form would be like your Reaper form. So you could literally look like the Grim Reaper, being a shadow around. If you lock in on doubling down, it needs to be something unique. It does. And that would be unique enough to sit there and be like, this is the ultimate summoner. All right, we're gonna cook up another little kebab here. Because right now, we gotta go hunt this dude up here in the cave, and then we gotta make our way towards Darnassus. But I'm gonna use the restroom real fast. I'll be right back. Conjurer might be your new alt. Summoner is going to be great all around. So we've got the Guerrilla Templar. What direction are you going to want to go for a Conjurer? Oh yeah, it adds a huge amount of replayability. And you don't have to start a new character. You get 8 classes at any given time that you can mix and match and augment different abilities. But you could also start like a new race with the same class and build the exact same class completely different because you're a different race. But we got to figure out what you're doing for your Conjurer. I think someone was just in here because everything's dead. That or I'm lagging. So a Colossus pet. Let's look at all the classes here. Because I feel like there's going to be an opportunity. I mean, they already said abominations are going to be in. So it's just a matter of making the abominations work for all the classes. I mean, the Brood Warden's pretty easy. You have an insectoid, arachnid, or a big old spooter. Where it's like a symbiotic dynamic duo. We can make it work. Shadowmancer. Any sort of shadow demon. Or, I mean, you could probably do a shadow form of, like, any creature. Beastmaster, I'm thinking a big, beefy bear. And this is just, like, the base big, beefy model. You can always animal husbandry the look of it. Or even, like, Beastmaster. Nah, maybe not. Be more of a Conjurer style. I was thinking of just like a big giant golem. Or maybe the enchanter enchants like a big thing of rocks and it forms one of those rocks creatures. And that's your big beefy bruiser. Because the necromancer is going to have the abomination. And for the Wild Blade, I just imagine just like floating weapons. You got like a floating sword, a floating hammer. Conjurer might have the ability to have bigger pets, is what I'm thinking. Oh. I mean, I definitely don't think you need to limit it to the Conjurer. But as like a unique, like, hey, summoner taking summoner augments. Or an extra pet. Maybe your summon has a summon. Imagine a massive wolf. I mean, that would go right back to our gorilla just summons in, you know, the gang. It would work really well with a lion too. Lion brings in all the lioness for the pride. That's actually a really interesting ability idea. You click your summon, or your lion summons ability is to summon in more lions. With a horde of chimps, exactly. Planet of the Apes. I was thinking Wizard of Oz, bringing in flying monkeys. You know, they're just swooping in. Why are you alive? Been attacking you for like a minute. This like creature like reset or something? Reduce chance to hit. That's what it's sending my way. Get out. All right, I have a sneaky suspicion this dude spawned elsewhere. Yeah, like a king lion that passively summons other lions. It could be passive too. That would be pretty neat. A summon that summons other summons. That's cool. All right, I think we got to start making our way back out of this cave. And it's a really cool way of like getting a lot more summons on the field that you don't necessarily need to be like actively in control of. When you get two people, the crazy ideas come out of nowhere. Yep. Two people just talking about what the game could be. They just follow the big one. Yeah, and like just thinking about it from like, you know, like a utility standpoint. Like if you wanted a healing one, you get yourself like you summon a tree ant. The tree ant's casting like little heals left and right, little radiant heals. And then it summons like little tree ants, which is going to look cool. So you got a big tree ant, you got a little tree ants, and now they're like passively like restoring mana to like the group. So you have like a minor like mana over time increase, which is increasing the mana of your tree ant, which the tree ant's then healing everyone. Like that sounds like really cool. That's like a sweet little totem. He is all the way up there. That's where he respawned. Looking like a boss up at the top of the cave. I mean, it would be pretty neat if any of the developers were just, you know, bored on a Saturday and just popped in here. I did change the title to say we're talking Ashes of Creation because that's literally all we do. Dark tree ants that put curses on all the enemies. Oh no, this dude's running up there. I need to invite. Woo, we got here just in time. Hello. Boom. It could also be a shaman thing too. Well, I mean, for shaman, I've definitely envisioned like not necessarily totems, but like elemental nature beings that you're summoning into the world. And that would be a nifty little thing that their summon things could do. Suck on the moonbeams. We still have not found any boots. And then explode the amount and set fire all the stolen spirit into your allies. Sounds pretty dope. Sounds pretty nifty of an ability. Like just thematically, that all sounds really cool. Your summons are taken after you. Beyonce. You picture something like a Sylvari from Guild Wars 2 as a nature spirit or potential pet for the shaman. All depends on how they want their creatures to look like in the lore, because it's like the ancestor like creatures. I think there's one walking over here that we can see here in WoW that they made into a mount. I don't know how far he goes on patrol. Too far for me, because we need to move on towards Dalaran and do some of these quests out here. But big, like, these would be like beefy versions of the Sylvari. He's a 12. I'm pretty sure his does better. He's got an upgraded version. I think we want to run here. Did I pick up the ambushers? Yes, I did. We can come down this way. Yeah, and for their like elemental summons, like if they could like summon water spirits, air spirits, fire spirits. It's essentially just spirits of Mother Nature. Aha! The Argent. I actually had a really unique script that I never went through on the Argent. So essentially, the Argent's I'm going to clear this up. What an Argent actually is and why they chose the name Argent. Because Argent itself literally just means the color silver. That's what the word Argent means. So like in World of Warcraft, the Argent Dawn is literally just the Silver Dawn or It's just the new dawn of the Silver Hand because they're former Knights of the Silver Hand. So that's why they're the Argent Dawn. I can see how they augment them, but I can't picture it. Once you figure out what an Argent actually is, and I'm going to explain it, you're going to be able to picture like everything that they do. So the Argent basically is the color silver, and it comes from medieval times, specifically referencing the color silver on Call of Arms. So your banners, your shields, your symbols of whatever country, cause, or what have you that you represent. Argent was just the color silver on those banners or on their shields. That's what Argent stands for. So Argents in Ashes of Creation are they're bannermen. They are the Call of Arms. So when you think of an Argent inside of the game, you think of Mel Gibson and any of his characters from movies. You're William Wallace from Braveheart. You're I don't know why I'm blanking on this character's name from The Patriot, but you're taking the American flag and you're stopping all your troops from their morale being down, and you're increasing the morale and giving them a second chance to go in. That's your performance. That's your bard. You're a bannerman. You're dropping banners down that inspire and boost your allies next to you. That's what you're doing as a tank. Yeah, it has nothing to do with silver, but has everything to do with you being the Call of Arms for your group, for your raid, for like your everything. Yeah, you're a straight bannerman in the world of Ashes of Creation. So like their number one thing they're going to be doing is they're going to be dropping banners like I think warriors do that in Guild Wars 2. They drop banners. Drop physical flags on the battlefield. So like if there was a bard ability in D&D, like a Song of Rest, gives, you know, like mana and health back to the group on a Song of Rest when you're resting. If you applied that to like a tank shout, it could be just like a, you know, a halftime speech would be this type of like inspirational speech. You know, inspiration is a bard ability in D&D. Argents are gonna be shout type tanks. They're gonna be placing banners that are like a physical shout that's in the world. Or they're going to be shouting to their comrades around them. That's how I see a Argent being built with this class system. Singing and dancing. I mean, it's just a rah-rah. You're the team captain, you know, you're trying to rally the troops around you. RP-wise, that's how you play them. I mean, anything that's going to be giving you... Man, do I want to do this cave now, or do I want to do this cave after I get to level 10? Because having bear form would be much better to do this cave. I've done this quest pre-10. Where his goal is to get attention and admiration by being a hero all the time to an almost pathological level. I mean, it makes sense. A lot of people get that mentality, you know, in sports. As the team captain, he's got to be the hero. He's the captain. I'm the captain now. Like he's excited when something goes horribly wrong because he can fix it. Don't worry, everybody. I'm the tank. I will be able to fix everything. Oh, man. Like, this is the only quest I got going. All right. We've got fill this thing. We can roll around the cave and fill this thing, or we can go do this cave mission. You know what? You're not hardcore unless you live hardcore, and the Legend of the Rent is way hardcore. And we're going to go do the Relics of the Awakening without bear form, because we are hardcore. The Degen Den. And back to Elwyn. Except you're not in Elwyn. Whoa! Gotta slow it down. Nails without milk for breakfast. I don't even know what that means. Please enlighten me on what this means. Nails without milk. People used to say I eat nails for breakfast. Is this a way to say that they're like tough? So imagine you'd have milk. I don't think I've ever heard that saying. Maybe it's not a Southwest type saying for here in the US. I mean, I specifically remember from Happy Gilmore, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. I remember that. I eat nails for breakfast. It makes sense. I'm a tough guy. It's something I got from a cartoon as a kid. What cartoon? Are they eating nails? I think it's some bad action movies. I mean, it definitely sounds like a an 80s action movie saying, I eat nails for breakfast without any milk. It's a SpongeBob. It's SpongeBob. Oh my goodness. Oh man. I mean, they definitely have the tough guy here picture here. Yeah, they added to it. Is the sleeping druid down here? I mean, I need to start eating nails for breakfast is what you're saying. That's my whole backstory for my fighter. I eat nails for breakfast. What race is your fighter going to be? Have you decided what your main is going to be? Because we know that class is going to be your main. His bio, it will just say, I eat nails for breakfast without any milk. It is so phenomenal. I'm the toughest there is. You're the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And tattoos. We'll protect the group by So is this going to be a big beefy Kalar, like a fat beefy Kalar? Is that what's happening? Sorry, the girlfriend was getting some texts in there. I wish I had a range weapon. Why can't druids not use bows? Why did everybody run over here for the food crates? All three of them clicked it. Oh my goodness. So silly. I'm eating. I need to get my spirit buff. What you doing there, samurai guy? Dunir. A Dunir tough guy. All right. I'm digging it. I got a full inventory. Sam's. Oh, we did grab some feet. Just got to put them on. All right, now where's this clown? You could have a beefy Nakua. You might not eat nails for breakfast, but there's definitely something that you could possibly... I don't know how it didn't pull that guy. What are they doing? We need to go up. I guess maybe it is down. We're just killing this guy left and right. Yeah, see, we could have just gone this direction the entire time. I eat nails for breakfast without any milk. I'm as tough as they come, and I'm only gonna get tougher until I'm the toughest being in Vera, and then punch the evil gods right in their face. And just focus on 2 characters. I think it's a good idea. Ooh, we dinged 9. We dinged 9. Ding. Warrior DK. Yeah, and the cool thing you can do is you can either do like 2 different type of melee. You can do 2 different types of ranged. You could do 1 ranged, 1 non-range. Especially Ashes, I feel like you're gonna at least want I wonder. No. Like one tank, one healer, one DPS. So you can do multiple different roles in all the combat. All right, we need to take out shamans. Ding. Because if you got your Gorilla Tolnar, got your Tolnar Cleric. You got your Fighter. I think that's 2. That's your 2. Junior Fighter. Tough as nails. Drinks. Ding. Everyone leveling up. I mean, you need to start building your character now. You don't have Ash's character creator, but doesn't mean you can't do it in another game. I think that's totally fine. Please just drop. Oh my goodness. Finally. I think two-handed hammers would be nice. I mean, for a guy that's eats nails for breakfast, I think it has to be two-handed weapons. I could also see him being, I mean, two-handed, like big old mace, big old hammer, for sure feels really good. But I could see him using like a big, long pole arm too. No. Okay. Go in the right direction. I'm thinking like specifically a glaive. Plus, there's a chance that it would look really silly on him. And I think that would be pretty funny. This blue that's on the screen here, this is the color that the healing magic should have been for Night Elf priests. That's what it should have been. A priest or a priestess of Elune should have been using blue radiant healing magic. Sleeping robes. Do we put it on for one stam? I don't think so. Now we just got to get out. I've definitely taken a hardcore character through this, and then on my way out, I tried just sprinting out, which obviously you can't sprint, at least not as any of these classes, and died outside to respawns like an absolute clown. It was a major yikes. Bringing back a lot of nostalgia. Yeah, I was one of those ones that made a human first as well. A human warlock was my first character. You didn't have a clue how to find them? You just, how big is this game? Oh man, I kind of want to take out the Den Mother. I want to go and take out this guy. Oh shit. I totally took that guy's ambusher. I mean, it is very basic. Like, I can get behind the people that want, they're in a fantasy game, they want to play the fantasy. But for me, playing as a human, I want to be playing as like myself. And just envisioning like truly I'm in the game. For the glory, we're taking out a Gaul here. Dagger him. Oh, you hate that? I don't know how you can hate it. Oh, you hate trying to make your character look like you. Okay. I mean, I can get behind that. I mean, we've already seen how good the character creator Ash's team has already put out. Intrepid. They already made Asmongold in game. Asmon's not going to have to make his character. It's already made. Yeah, I usually have one character that's supposed to be based off of me. And then I'll have every other character is based off of like some sort of lore or like RP behind that character. Like I'll create that character and their backstory and everything that makes them them. And Duniers are supposed to be a little bit beefier. Little beefy boys. Moon Priestess Amara. Yeah, these guys. Like, imagine an earth healing elemental that you summon in Ashes, and this is the guy that you summon, and he's dropping heals and stuff to everybody in your party. And then you can hop on its back in Ashes because you can, it's a riding mount. That is the type of mount I want. Memat Nakua. I mean, as long as it's a Memat Nakua pirate, we're in. That's a big DPS increase. Yeah, the 8-man summoning for the sieges. But I want that to be a thing in like all content. I want you to be able to like group up. You partied up with 8 people, so you're running a raid, essentially, running out around the world. And I want to be able to summon those things for anything. Not just for castle sieges. Yeah, the Necromancer Pirate Captain on the Seas of Era. Like, I'm pretty set on that being, like, how I want to play the game with my main. Sailing the seas, looting and PvPing all sorts of people, taking their loot. I want my main home to be on that island node that's out in the middle of the seas. I want that to be like the Booty Bay of the server, where it's a neutral place that anyone can go. It's gonna be dope. Resurrecting my crewmates like I'm Davy Jones. All right. We are making some progress. Where am I going? This is who I want to go to. It'll be easy for your Nakua to get on my Dunir on his side. Just tell him that it'll prove how tough he is if he comes along with no gold payment or anything. Or I can just say you just can't handle it. The Kraken. No shot you can take down the Kraken with a measly little hammer. You need a whole crew of misfits to take down the Kraken out here on the sea. He can be a brute for hire. All right, what do we want to do? We don't want to do this yet. We still need to fill this. We got all the quests over here. That's the only bummer about the Night Elf starting zone is just how spread out everything really becomes. Like, Elwyn's really compact. Who play on their ego for their own personal gain as well. There's a human. Shidma Pants is that character's name. Shidma Pants is how he wants to run around and look at himself. Do we roll to Darnassus? Turn this in. Temple of the Moon. Yeah, we gotta go to Darnassus. Pick up skinning. Ba 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 da ba da ba. Ba da ba ba ba. Are we talking in combat utility or are we talking out of combat utility? Because I want every archetype to have that. Ah, you're talking out of combat ability. Yes. It's a big part of the game that I'm really excited for. I also hope races have some sort of out of combat abilities. Intimidation check. Deception check. I don't know if they're going that far with the the D&D inspiration. Another big healing elemental right here. What mission does he give out? He does sell bags. I will take at least one bag. Fighters out of combat ability. That is a tough one. You can find the weak point on every boss, and it sort of lights up after a certain amount of time, and the fighter figures it out. I mean, there's a lot of combat mechanics that you're kind of putting into that. I think momentum just being like the is the fighter in combat mechanic. Being able to raise their resistance and mobility. Yeah, because that sounds more of like an encounter mechanic than something that you can apply to all, like all encounters. A pruning knife. All right. Where, oh, where is skinning? Yeah, because I don't know if like weak points or like those type of action points are going to be in the game, because tab targeting is still going to be a part of the game. And it's not just going to be action combat. So there's not going to really like be precision points that you can like target on bosses. Because, to be honest, that sort of element, I think, is going to be what they build into the hunters, or not the hunters, but the rangers' hunt mechanics. That's their in-combat niche. Where is skinning? Alchemy. Is where they can, like, announce a hunt for, like, the boss, and they, like... them being like targeted for their hunt, like debuffs and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see what that actually entails. Steven's only briefly teased it in the Discord. Ranger hunts is what they're called. Skinning. I need a skinner. Can break certain walls. Yeah, something like that would be much more apropos to a fighter. It's got to be by leatherworking, right? Maybe it's upstairs. Aha. Hello. Yeah, it's definitely something that's pretty tough to think about, because being a fighter, what do fighters do out of combat in D&D? Feats of strength, like a sword and a stone. It's just something like that's not too similar to, like, I can find hidden treasures or I can find hidden pathways Can roll a boulder out of the way. Hi, Sam's. What you need? What you need, bud? Need some attention? Come here. Come over here. Because I would say, like, they can leap really far, but, like, I think that would be better, like, as a racial for Tolnars. Is having that ability to, like, jump really far. Or jump high. Die Hard the Rogue. Enjoy some buffs. Kind of like an added mini quest within dungeons. Temple of the Moon. Missed opportunity. This temple should have had moonkins walking around that you could talk to. That's what should have been here. Moon boys should have been in here. Moon boys should have been the guards. See, this is the color that their healing power should have been. Water. This crystal clear blue. Out of combat fighter abilities. Because the bard's really easy. Whatever their performance is, that's what they do to do like Song of Rest. Healing and all of that stuff. That's pretty easy. What about tanks too? Like, you have two like melee based classes that it's like, what unique out of combat thing can you give them? They can detect mobs. Again, I feel like that would be better suited for like a racial. Like dark vision would give you a better way to look at the perception. So like a Vec, since they're out at night, they have dark vision and they can better perceive things in the shadows. We want to go north. Greeting, salutations. All right, let's think here. What does a fighter do out of combat? Let's see what this guy says. I mean, it could be something as simple as like tanks take less fall damage. Because they're, you know, they've got skill proficiencies, tools proficiencies, languages. Maybe tell war stories and increase experience gained. Nothing on that one. Barbarians. Yeah, see, like everything's personality focus, intimidation, strength scaling, like you said, where they could like maybe move boulders and stuff like that. Yeah, some like knowledge, wisdom as... I mean, it all comes down to like skill proficiencies. So like beast knowledge, so you know, you're more adept at like fighting things. But that's not really like an actionable out of combat fun mechanic that you can do. Because the thing that I'm trying to think of it is how do we make it actionable? Like finding a chest out in the world is actionable. Like fighting a hidden pathway is actionable. Playing an instrument as a bard or like doing a performance as a bard is actionable, like to give like, you know, some sort of like role play buff. A mage being able to like teleport people out of combat and like teleport them across gaps, that's like actionable. Because then it's also really tough for tanks as well. I mean, taking less fall damage. Please don't harm me. I really would like to not die. Taking less fall damage is something that's actionable, because then you can traverse the map in unique ways. So like a tank, that would be something unique for a tank. Like an idea that kind of popped in my head is maybe fighters have a unique way of like buffing allies through dueling. That would encourage something very unique. If you duel a fighter, you'll get like some sort of like simple boost to like experience gained, or I mean, the problem is then you're running into like the you need to maximize what you're doing, so you need to duel a fighter before you go anywhere, which might not be bad. But would that be too similar to what a bard already will most likely do by playing their instruments? Because that's really a performance. Story time is a performance-based thing. I mean, it might have to just come down to like proficiencies. Like they have skill proficiencies in stuff that other archetypes just don't have the proficiencies in. What's this one? Mist. Escort Mist to this. Everyone's climbing speed. They get insecure because he's so physically superior and want to match him. This thing's level 11, and I am petrified. Thank goodness I got some healing potions. I need to work out more. Good grief. Oh, I'm gonna push through the pain up the hill. Oh boy. Poor mages. They didn't do anything. I think most of them will have that, you know, RP element of like, I'm so proficient in magic, I don't need big muscles. This is something that I hope Ashes brings back. Trainers out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the world. I hope you have to come to these trainers that be able to train something special. What am I supposed to be doing up here? Should we be on this side? We should be doing tremors. That's what we should be doing. We need to cross the river. We need to cross the river. Yeah, make it meaningful to not only go out and explore, but to travel and like traverse the world. And you want to get some cool things trained, you got to go up the Arctic mountain and talk to the dude at the top. Yep, special stuff that can only be learned from them. That's exactly what I want. Dual axes. That'd be pretty dope. I mean, I'm just imagining the like the dual bladed axes with whirlwind would probably look really, really dope. I think Ashes is going to be a game where it's apropos to have multiple weapons and not just rock one. Just the fact that they have specific damage types for weapons says everything about you're going to want to be swapping weapons based on who you're fighting. So you're going to want to have your dual wield axes and then your big mace as well. And I also think the fighter is going to be one of those classes that you're going to want to be rocking multiple weapons in combat. Yeah, the single-handed weapon and the shield, I think it's going to be a big part of the kit as well. There are a lot of people just dying for no reason. I mean, depending on how they build it, but I have a suspicion that they're not going to sacrifice the range. And the way combat's going to flow is you're going to want to be swapping between the ranged weapon and melee weapons. Just I got a little gut feeling in the back of my bones that that's going to be what happens. Especially since they are just calling the fighter a mobile DPS, not just a melee DPS. But it is going to be really interesting to think about, like, because they said they want an equal amount of ranged weapons and melee weapons. They want those to be like equal or similar. Doesn't necessarily have to be equal, but let's see here. But they just don't have too many ranged weapons that they've showcased or like put out there. I need weapons. They have a lot more melee weapons compared to ranged weapons. Like when I was making my list, like bows, short and long, so you got two there. Wands. They've said they want to do ranged staves. So I'd assume like spell books would probably, if they make that into a combat, and orbs, which I don't think those are like guaranteed to be used. Like they're still on the table. But I would imagine those would most likely be ranged weapons if they had some sort of basic combo with them. I imagine you could definitely just pump a ton of points into, you know, proficiency in one-handed fighting, and shields, and just never equip a bow. I just don't think you're going to be able to, like, sacrifice the ability to equip a bow for a bonus. I think you'll just have to, you know, just not use the bow. Yeah, because, like, orbs and spell books, I really feel like those are going to end up being just like shields, where they're just static stat sticks that you put on your character. This guy's an elder. Why am I killing him? Where do I get this? I need to kill these guys. It's just not showing up on the drop. I feel like I've looked up this quest before. The moss twinked heart. Twined. Black moss effeted. I remember watching a video on the fighter with a bow, Shiva's Dream. Honestly, that doesn't sound familiar. YouTube. Shiva's Dreamin'. Oh. $8 months ago. I don't think I've ever seen any of his videos. At least these thumbnails, I mean, these sweet, sweet thumbnails are not very familiar. Weapon Master. Double the fight, double the fun.
Hello, and welcome to the Class Fantasy discussion for Ashley's Creation. I'm Shivavin. Today I want to be talking about the class fantasy of the Weapon Master. So, the class fantasy of the Weapon Master is that of a pure fighter who's focused on mastering all the different weapons.
I see you got a comment on here.
And becoming a true master of combat. The fantasy for this class is all about being a frontline fighter who deals massive damage to their enemies and using their skills of their weapons alone. The Weapon Master, it's not interested in magic, healing, or other support roles, and instead focuses solely on being a DPS powerhouse. What I think draws players to the Weapon Master is the idea of being a true master of combat, and the desire to deal a lot of damage using
Oh no, I want to watch this
People
guy.
will attract players who want fast-paced combat, who just want to get in and deal a bunch of burst damage, and that's about it. So the fighter's secondary class, I think, will allow player to specialize in weapon mastery.
10
The
subscribers.
augments will probably be centered around things to do with weapons, things to do with close range. While other secondary classes would offer more diverse gameplay options, the Weapon Master will be the choice for players who want to focus on being the ultimate combat machine. The fantasy here is being the ultimate combat machine, dealing massive amounts of damage and looking cool doing it. We can expect this class to have a high skill cap while focusing on the specific focus of what it means to be a fighter, rather than a broader variety of skill. The Weapon Master won't gain the benefits of multiclassing in their classes, but choosing Fighter as both the primary and secondary class would allow for specialization into pure DPS with their weapons. Perhaps we'll see characters' combat skills enhanced further with, bleeding or critical hits.
I appreciate
for
that.
players like me who like build diversity, when I look at quote-unquote pure classes, I immediately think, boring. Why would I ever want to do that? I'm going to upload a video that I did.
The journey. I knew
classes. I found that footage. I recorded it way back when I first found out about Ashes in last August. And you could hear in it that I immediately dissed the pure classes. I was like, boring. There's no way I want to do that. Boring. I'm the type of player that likes the build diversity of differences between the classes. And I wanted to do this video near the beginning of my series for this very reason. If I'm talking about the class fantasy of all 64 classes, then we have to talk about the pure classes too. Now, I'm the type of player who wants to find ways to subvert the base expectations of these quote-unquote boring classes. And for that, we looked at Pathfinder. So my favorite pure fighter build in Pathfinder is the Archer Fighter. If I'm going to go pure fighter with no cross-classing, that's what I go to. Now, in the D20 based games, fighters are defined by their combat needs. So other classes get unique class features that are unique to them. Actually, that's not true, because some of the fighters' class features required you to be a fighter of a certain level.
Actually, I think I know who you're talking about.
But they were
is it Half Tilt Gamer?
They were just options that you could choose, or you could choose a different combat feat. While a ranger might get,
because I definitely commented on one of his videos
so rangers
where he was doing something similar to this.
You can either choose to be bow or two-weapon combat in Pathfinder and Pathfinder Battle with Beams.
He's talking Pathfinder.
You would get some combat feats, you would gain the combat feats as bonus feats, but the fighter got more of them. However, the fighter didn't get things like the nature magic. They didn't get the animal companion. They didn't get some of the other mobility and terrain-based things that the ranger gets. Whereas the archer fighter, you got your weapon focus. You got your weapon specialization. Now, weapon specialization was so good that almost every class that did any kind of damage with weapons, and even some spellcasters, took 4 levels of fighter for weapon specialization. Weapon specialization gives you +2 to your damage rolls. So if you're dealing a D8 for damage, D8 plus strength damage, an extra 2 points of damage is huge. Okay, so that's the idea there. That's the idea there. The novice looking at D&D.
I just realized I could possibly die where I'm sitting. I'm gonna run up this hill a little bit.
Because people look at the fighter and go, no, that's a melee build. People look at the fighter and go, no, that's a melee class. It isn't. Even in AD&D, I always had a fighter rogue, or actually in the X-Video video game, they almost always had a fighter made rogue who stood in the back and used the bow when they weren't getting close. Now, I like this type of character so much that I played this in DDO. Although in DDO, there was one trait that was unique to Rangers. that kind of forced me into taking one level of Ranger for the character build to be effective. And also Guild Wars 2. I loved playing the Longbow Warrior in Guild Wars 2. It was easily one of my most played characters after the Mesmer. It was also a thing in Guild Wars 1. The first time I saw a bow using warrior in Guild Wars 1, I was like, why would anyone do that?
Bow using warrior.
Energy. And the Ranger got away with it because the Ranger's expertise skill, their weapon skills energy costs are reduced. But the fighters have the lowest energy, and all the bow skills use energy. And it seemed like a thing where the warrior would run out of energy. However, what I noticed was that the warrior's primary strength attribute, which allows them to bypass armor, worked with the bow. So they were basically punching through armor at a distance. It actually wound up being very, very good. I actually did wind up seeing it in PvP quite often. Now, one of the things about Ashes of Creation, when they're talking about the different archetypes, they do talk about the fighter in terms of being non-DPS. However, in one of the live streams, I think it was, I want to say it was at the end of the January live stream. It might have been at the end of the November live stream, but during the question and answer period, Stephen Sharif was talking about the fighter, and at one point he talks about them being the master of all weapons, and he said that includes bows. So I am almost certainly that there will be a bow build that will exist for the Weapon Master, and I believe that it will exist in the Weapon Master design space, and also in the Hunter design space. The Hunter being fighter ranger. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what your vision of this class fantasy is for the Weapon Master. I'm curious to find out what other people think.
It's going crazy with these volumes. All over the place, the volumes.
Once again, I turned to ChatGPT to flesh out some of the existing ideas I already had for augment systems. I settled on 5 options, although I think some of these are going to be combined, or not all of these are going to be used. So the 5 options I came up with are close combat.
Yeah, ranged fighters, I think it'll be 50-50.
So let's talk about close combat first. I have a very, very strong suspicion that every player...
I'll have to finish this video later, now that I've got them on subscription. Because that video is from 8 months ago. But I definitely think there's going to be some ranged capability. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be grabbing here. In the fighter's kit. Because especially with them giving Rangers a hunts mechanic, they're not necessarily going to be completely proficient only with ranged weapons. I think they're going to be, if we're going to put like any sort of number on it, be like the fighter's like 70% melee, 30% ranged. The ranger is 70% ranged, 30% melee. Would be a way to kind of just, doesn't have to be absolute on those, but it kind of gives the idea of like how much of the time you want to spend in both of them. I don't necessarily mean like that's how, like that's going to be the breakdown of the kit, but like actual physical combat that you're in. I see fighters being in actual melee range 70% of the time, and then they're backed out in range 30% of the time. So it would naturally, you'd want to build your kit around that. But when you add like the ranged augments, now you're augmenting your abilities where you want to be more, you know, maybe 50-50 or maybe 60-40 as far as like your proficiencies of your kit in that that capacity. Could see hunters being boss. This will be the closest to range or most ranged fighter. Yeah, because it's a matter of just like what your kit is really good at. You know, that's why like the evolution of balanced druids in World of Warcraft, they catered more towards range because, you know, casting abilities and abilities like Wrath, they're more apropos to be in ranged. But where they kind of, I'm going to level up from this mob, so that's why I'm attacking it. So that's where the entire kit was kind of designed in the future, but you didn't need to go that way because instant cast abilities that can work at range, like Moonfire, are also very apropos to use in a melee sense. So you could have made this class into a melee caster. It's like if you start at range, but when you get up close, you don't kite them back. You just whip out your weapons and go to town. Yeah, and your abilities kind of make sense in going in that route. So like you set up a trap around you, or you set up a trap in like an area. Like we have a choke point right here, so you set up some traps to where you can blast them from range, but if they get through their traps and they come at you, you're not too worried because whatever, you know, effect or debuff or whatever happened because of the trap, it makes your melee battling more apropos to use those abilities and use your melee weapons. That's how the combat flow should work. So you're not just like a sitting duck turret because they got through your traps. It makes you better at melee, or at least that's the way I kind of see the way a ranger can work, where a ranger isn't just sitting there going like, okay, hit your arrow, stop, hit your arrow, stop, hit your arrow, stop, hit your arrow, and just keep running away from them. Yeah, fighters with traps is going to be the hunter. Because I definitely feel like one of the schools of augments for a ranger is going to be traps in some sense. So because we have the hunts, which is, we obviously haven't seen too much stuff, but if it's just kind of like targeting and having cool animations of how you like identify a target that you're going to be targeting, increasing your crit chance, increasing, you know, your increasing their vulnerability to spells, you know, whatever sort of buff or debuff you get for attacking that single target. Yeah, because traps really are more, I mean, they're apropos to both styles of fighting. You set up a trap like entangling roots, you know, I could trap this guy here and then I could keep plinking at him at range. But it's also apropos to set up a trap behind me, someone tries to gank me, and then they're stuck there and I can come in and wail on them from a melee range because they can't get away from me. That's one thing that a lot of people don't really consider, is why hunters use traps. Not just to keep safe distancing, but also to keep that mob in place. So you could have like explosive traps on your body too. You know, like someone comes up and they melee you and then it explodes and they get dazed and staggered or something. You know, that would be like a DC character, the Joker, a Joker style trap. You know, do you want to come up and punch Joker in the face? Probably not, because his Joker toxin's gonna, you know, spawn and stun you. So there's many different ways you can kind of look at how traps can work in combat to not just make melee fighting like better, but it's a type of trap a melee fighter would want to take. A true hunter. All right, we're running over here to fill our dang thing. That would definitely would catch a rogue off guard. They come up, they think they're gonna gank you, and then there's an explosive trap on the hunter that goes boom, don't hit me. And if you really wanted to get like down to the nitty gritty, you could make it to where it only goes off if you're hit from behind. You know, so it's specifically targeted for, you know, that sort of person coming up and ganking you. So I'm going to use the restroom again. I'll be right back, Strange. A Junior Hunter would definitely be super dope. And I love the sense of like the melee being like the focus, because Hunter is not a ranger class in Ashes of Creation. It's a fighter class. So it's going to have a lot of great melee in its kit. Fit the theme of being up in the snowy mountains in the Dunir zone. I think the Hunter fantasy also really fits the Nakua as well. Being a hunter using traps and such out in the tropics and on the coast. I think it fits them very well. Let's grab this thing. We're level 10. We got ourselves a lot that we can do. We can spend a skill point. We're going on the Balanced Dream, and we're taking Nature's Grasp because that's replacing our Entangling Roots. Build up momentum from range, and then you sprint in at them and you close the distance, and then you start wailing on them with your Nakua, like hatchets and stuff, because you're dual wielding a couple hatchets. Yeah, it sounds really dope. All right. The glowing fruits. Yeah, a melee hunter. I haven't tried Resto yet. I've just been sticking to my Moon Boy. Too far away. These things blocking me. All right, this one's back here. This one's back here. And this is a good opportunity to hearth. I should pop on the Resto, try some talents out, and then hop into a dungeon. Oh, do you mean like leveling as in hardcore as Resto? Is that what you mean? Oh, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. They do 0 damage. Yeah, I mean, it's leveling up as a healer only really works out if you're... Did we pick up the moon gate? If you're running in groups and such over and over and just doing dungeon crawling because you're the dedicated healer for the group. All right, we got some fruit and some shimmering stuff to turn in down here. But I think like the early levels, like just getting, you know, 7% and however this scales more Mark of the Wild is not very good. The shape-shifting part, like fur over here, would definitely be really good as a leveling druid talent. I've thought about it, but I really want to do the balanced dream, because taking these two skills here and then going down and getting Omen of Clarity is kind of the whole point of trying to be a melee caster, and I'm trying to make it a reality. That's the whole dream on this. Who am I turning it into? There's going to be some boglings over here. I'm going to snipe these because those things sell for a lot. Yeah, it's the Moonkin Dream. It's a slow leveling grind, but I want to make it work. Glowing fruit. Thank you. So we got those tremors. What other classes did you think of in Ashes? Is Battle Mage on the list? Oh, you mean like... What do you mean? Do you mean like what other classes would I like to play, create a video on? What's the question? Can you clarify that? Oh, for melee casters. 100%. But again, it's one of those things that I'm very hopeful that Ashes of Creation will be a game where you can be dedicated in melee range or range if you so choose, but you don't have to. So like Saints, I just want there to be like good abilities that you can cater your kit around to be to make yourself melee. But the Battle Mage 100% should be a melee caster, because they'll have the mage kit abilities, and then the fighter augments should be able to make it make a lot of those abilities more apropos to use in melee range. Okay, just classes I like to play in general. Yeah, there are a lot. I mean, the Battle Mage sounds really, really fantastic. Spell Sword doesn't really sound like that's going to be... I mean, I don't see it as like a casting abilities. So I guess we're looking at mainly like Cleric. Templar would be... Obviously, we've talked about this ad nauseum. is going to be a really fun melee healer. And if you see healers as being casters, then 100% that's on the list of ones that I'd love to play. I think the Battle Mage is going to be super popular as well, especially in PvP. What else can we look at? I think the Strider could be really fun too, because it's very similar to the Hunter. So like the way I would look at the differences between those, the Hunter sets up traps to get in melee range. The Ranger or the Strider sets up traps to get out of melee range. But both are very capable in the other range or at range. Or they're converse. They're still, good lord. Hashtag English as a first language. Holy smokes. But Rangers or Striders will still be good in melee range. And then Hunters will still be good in or at range. Woo. Pretty sure I just had like a mini stroke. But the Strider should be also fun. Let's see, what else could also be like a ranged melee caster? The Night Spell could be very cool. Having a whole bunch of shadowy casted abilities that enhance your rogue kit. That could be a lot of fun. Yeah, the nature side of the magic to the Ranger. That radiant nature magic. Mage Ranger, the Spell Hunter. I think that's going to be, again, if you think about it, like adding traps to the kit. So thematically, it's similar to a Hunter where you're setting up kits or you're setting up traps to do something, but they're going to be more magic focused. So they're going to be more like fire explosives and then making them vulnerable to fire damage, or like ice explosions that make them vulnerable to ice damage. In terms of how does the bow stuff apply to the spell? That's if they add like bow augments to the ranger augments, like the archer augments. I don't necessarily think that's something they're specifically going to be doing. I mean, it could be a school of augmentation that they have, where it could turn, instead of fireball, it's like fire bow, and you pull out like a magical bow of fire, and then you shoot an arrow of fire. So instead of it being a fireball, and then since it's an arrow of fire, it can pierce targets. So that way it's a little bit different than just a reskinned fireball. Or maybe it sticks to a target, and then after a couple seconds of burning the target, it explodes and damages all enemies there. I mean, that's a way that you could add you could augment fireball into a bow skill so it looks like a bow. No, that's Spell Hunter. Because the converse, like if you take the Ranger and we look at like the airstrike ability and you become a Scion, so you're a Ranger Mage, instead of just like airstrike launching down the rooting nature effects, it's like Rain of Hellfire, and you launch down like the converse of like the fire arrows that explode on the ground. I think that would really feel good. You can't like Rain of Fire, like Hellfire coming down. That'd be sweet. I was thinking about maybe turns your AoEs into more concentrated attacks, and that's where it's a bit of a longer range and shorter cast. So like Mage adding a ranger augment to Blizzard, would you make it more of like an isolated like snow twister or something, instead of it being a giant AoE of snow coming down? It's like just a smaller, like a storm twister, instead of a big circle of fire, a long line. Okay, yeah, that would make pretty sense. And then it's like, instead of chilling the enemy, it's just got a high crit chance because it's more isolated. Maybe they're like, it's shooting out little jagged like ice lances around. I think that would be pretty sweet. Instead of doing the chill effects, you're increasing your crit chance and just, you know, spike damaging things in like one little area. Reducing cast times. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really big theme. Rangers quick. Mage is cast. What was happening there? Hi, Buckaroo. Yeah, that would definitely make it pretty sweet. I can see a spell hunter with a wand. Yes. Yeah, being more apropos to using more magic dealing weaponry. Actually, that would be a really cool fantasy. The gunslinger type fantasy is something that you don't typically see in high fantasy, but I think that would be a sweet way of like applying it. Like a quick like snap wand is your quick draw. That would be pretty interesting. I mean, it's definitely not something we've seen from any of their showcases. I love the gunslinger theme and fantasy. Yeah, and that's one thing that we haven't seen. Well, I mean, auto attacks aren't really auto attacks, they're click attacks, like DC Universe Online. But yeah, that you hit a button in your next 4 auto attacks to deal extra damage. That is something that I've theory crafted for like what is shaking my screen? For like weapons, like legendary weapons, just some simple way. Like a legend, it was my legendary wand. I'm pretty sure I had this in a video. Where you had the older wand. It was Perry Hodder's older wand. And it had like a 30% chance, like you instead of like click click click, it had like a 30% chance for your third click to deal like three shots instead of just one shot. And that's like a legendary wand you can get. So you want to use that auto attacking weapon with the empowerment ability, the arcane empowerment. So you can get your spell effects or your spell procs faster. So you get your chill out, then you sit there and you just bop your wand left and right so you can get those procs to freeze enemies a lot quicker. I think that would be a pretty sweet little weapon. I never turned my webcam back on. People are probably like, what is this guy just chit-chatting away? And I still had display on. What have you been looking at? I did not have WoW on. I had my display capture on. Were you able to see the game? I'm just very curious what was actually shown. Okay. You can still see the game. Good grief. That's good news. But what idea does it give you? Actually, that's better than what I'm wearing. So imagine you put like a magic crosshair symbol of different elements on the mob. So we're talking hunts. I like it. And every time you auto attack, it procs X amount of times and then explodes. Beautiful. And allies can also proc it. Gorgeous. I love it. Like making the mage more single target. Yeah, that's one element of the kits that we haven't quite seen, is the direction they kind of want to make, if they want to go that direction, because he's a hunter. Yep. Death or glory. You know what? I'll join. You just joined Death or Glory. We're in the guild. I love it because I'm always for the glory. Yeah, we haven't seen like if they want to have like specific archetypes be more AoE damage focused, single target damage focused, more cleave focused. It is a fitting name. More CC proc focused. Like the rogue would be more of a CC. Like you want to CC the enemy so you increase your crit chance. So that's how you do your damage, is making sure you're stunning, staggering, and CCing your enemy. The mage is more AoE focused, more about using the elements and interweaving the different elements. The ranger's more single target focused and more heavy on staying on target. Whereas the fighter's more cleave focused, and that's why they're mobile, they're moving, they move around on the packs. Like I could see that being the direction that it could go. Scion with a shotgun jump with fire augment. There you go. I remember last time you saying the Scion sounded very awesome. I'm glad you're delving deep. Delving deep into the theory craft. Yeah, like those are the simplest augments that you can think of as like the school. And that's how you take some of the ranged abilities from like a fighter to make it more of like a range apropos class. So like the example that always happens is like the fighter's rush ability augmented with a mage augment. It can turn into a teleport. Like you could do very similar instead of rush for the hunter, for the fighter ranger. instead of it rushing the target, this would be the blast backflip to get yourself in range. So you go in there, you wail on them with your melee, then you blast backflip yourself out of there. And then you wail on them with some range abilities. Yeah, it's all about really enhancing the kit. And that's like a mobile type ability that would really enhance the kit. Build up that momentum. I'd love to see fighters just bouncing back and forth on the battlefield, going in and out of range. I think that would be really dope. But I think with that, I'm going to cruise on out of here. I appreciate you hanging out again. I got to let my voice rest a little bit because I'm going to be doing some recording here. Get this video on the map so I can get it posted on Monday. That's what I'm shooting for. On Monday. But I really appreciate you hanging out again, Strange. Always great talking up Ashes with you. You get the ideas rocking and rolling. It's going to be even more fun watching you get your hands on the character creator. Because they are going to give us that early. So even before the Alpha 2. So I really hope you have access to it. So you could just sit here and keep sending me clips of or screenshots of new character models that you made, and be like, "This is gonna be my my junior firefighter," or you're just like, "Came up with a new one. I got a Vec Scion ready to go." So, but appreciate you tuning in, man. I will catch you again probably on Monday. That's what I'm thinking. Thinking about streaming again on Monday. So, later.